So today we're looking at the ISTJ. A nice name for them is the responsible realist. So very practical, very pragmatic. And ISTJ stands for introverted. So the I in Myers-Briggs is introverted. They're what we call battery powered. So they often need to recharge on their own. And they often think through their thoughts before putting them out there. So quick tip, if you'll likely have introverts on your team. So it's important to be able to give people some work time, some think time before you ask them for a response. So introverts are battery powered, want to think through their thoughts and need some time to recharge on their own. The S in the ISTJ profile is for sensing. And so that's really detailed, specific, kind of the here and now, what is rather than what might be. And then the T stands for thinking. So it's very logic focused, ideas focused rather than people is the first thing that we want to think about. So when you're making a decision, T's want to think about a precedent that could be the same for all future decisions, not something that has gray areas and wishy-washy. Like we just want that one precedent that is going to be the same in all future situations. And then the J in the MBTI profile of ISTJ is for judging. It does not mean that they're judgment focused. It does not mean that they're judgmental, but it's about looking at the environment as decisions to be made. So folks who have a J preference really want closure, and they start with that T. So there's a little more in-depth information when you look at it in terms of type dynamics, but just for kind of big picture, ISTJs are introverted, sensing, thinking, and judging. That's their preference. When you look at that all together, some core traits of ISTJs can be that they're really reliable. They really typically are like doing a lot of work in the background and great at follow through and very structured. So really want specifics and details and really structured in the way that they want to approach work. So they're really strong with follow through as well. And then they typically have a lot of integrity. So I know I've worked with some great ISTJs and again, love them. I was working in a situation where we had to make sure that people really followed a specific process to be able to get into a certification program that we were running. And so my ISTJ teammate made sure that every single person signed every piece of paper, every waiver. We had it in a really great folder system back in the day when you used paper folders for everything. And it was really great. Like everyone knew what was expected of them. And we had that clear process to follow. And she really did a great job of following through. If you think about some famous ISTJs, potentially we're just guessing here, but potentially based on some of their behavior that's public, Denzel Washington might be an ISTJ profile. Sting, the singer, could be an ISTJ profile, and Natalie Portman, the actress. Just throwing that out there, they might be. So now we're going to go into tips for ISTJ. So if you think you have an ISTJ profile, or if you know that you do, here are some ways that you can set yourself up for success at work. So tip 1 is to plan your work and work your plan. I'm not an ISTJ, but this is great advice that folks gave me when I started out in my career as a teacher. And so plan your work and work your plan. Make sure you own that strength of developing a checklist and really working through that checklist. Maybe you're able to set up repeated tasks every week. If you know you're going to do the same tasks every week or every month, like turn in your expense reports, go ahead and put that on your calendar so that you can have that sense of breathing easier, because what you're going to do is already living on your calendar and then your plan, and then work your plan. That can help you to provide some structure for your week and your month. A second tip for ISTJs is to plan your focus time and protect that focus time. You likely need to have, again, that introverted time to work on your own, and you really appreciate that time to methodically work through your plan and to complete the deliverables that you need to. So go ahead and block off that space in your calendar and figure out how you can have that time uninterrupted. I think, again, communication on teams is so important. So if you're able to talk with your manager and your teammates about that, or put it directly on your calendar that's shared to say, this is my work time, go ahead and do that and just communicate that out to them so they know. I'd say a third tip is to prep before you act. So I'm sure this is probably something that comes natural to you, but you really probably want to be really prepared and thorough, double checking everything. So dotting all your I's, crossing all your T's, double checking it all. And that's a great strength that we all can learn from. So make sure you go ahead and own that strength and don't rush the process if you don't have to. On the flip side, a stretch opportunity for you is likely. So with that STJ profile, often want to be really structured, want to follow the plan exactly as you have it. Let's be real, like that is not always possible in any work that involves human beings or technology. Like things change all the time. You're not always able to work the plan exactly as you have it there. So go ahead and like breathe into that and understand that things might change. So a growth opportunity is to build in flex time to your calendar and to know that to give yourself and your teammates grace as well, that things are probably going to change at some point. So plan your work and work your plan, but know that there needs to be some flex time to allow you to be able to adapt to shifting priorities. Now, for folks who work with ISTJs, a lot of us work with ISTJs, again, amazing teammates. So here are some ways that we can support our teammates. Step one is to be specific and clear. To just own a lot of folks need this too, but ISTJs in particular are going to be really energized and build some trust with you if you can be specific and clear with them. So take time to provide like clear timelines, clear deadlines or target dates, clear expectations, and really direct communication. So they also will appreciate direct communication, not kind of beating around the bush, but hey, here's what I need you to do. Really be specific about them, about the expectation, and they will probably like knock it out and reach the goals that you have set together. So tip one was be specific and clear. Tip two is to stick to the plan when you can. STJs are always going to want to plan that work and work the plan exactly as it is. So if you need to change or if you have a vague plan, just be upfront about it, but try not to do that too often with ISTJs. When you can, go ahead and execute that plan exactly as it is. And when priorities shift and change, of course, again, we're all human. We have things that need to change and shift. Go ahead and tell them when you know that something's changing and let them know a little bit of rationale. If there's some rationale behind the change, it's really important to share with folks. That of vulnerability, like people will appreciate from you as a leader. And I would say at the outset, when you start a plan, if there is something that you know might change or a date that might change, be honest about that as well. Here are the things that are not going to change in our plan or in our goals, but here are the things that probably will change that can help people kind of have some realistic expectations at the outset. The third tip that we have in working with ISTJs is to acknowledge their reliability. Like they're doing awesome, I'm sure. So make sure that these folks are often working in the background as introverts and probably not going to be center stage. So go ahead and acknowledge, maybe one-on-one or with a small group team that you have, but acknowledge like how valuable they are for the specific things that they bring to the team. If they give really great logical decision making, if they're really thorough, if they're following through, whatever it is that you see them thriving in, probably attention to detail, go ahead and acknowledge that because they are really an asset to the team and might often be in the background and not understanding like or not feeling that praise from you. So it's really important. The last thing we talk about in these videos is if you are a fan of DISC, like there are lots of different tools out there. Again, my favorite is MBTI, but both the DISC, DISC, and MBTI are based on the work of Carl Jung. He's influenced a lot of psychology out there. And so if you know about DISC as well, an overlap for ISTJs is that oftentimes folks with the ISTJ profile in Myers-Briggs will show up really high C on the DISC profile. So conscientious, they're typically, again, like following a process, really working it through, very good at follow through, and really want to stick to that plan. So if you know the DISC profile, look for C to show up with your ISTJs. And then continue to follow our series. But if you want to know more information, we have a few ways to do that. I do one-on-one coaching with folks. I do small group coaching, really enjoy it. And then we also do team workshops with your team if you're setting, kind of in a retreat phase or kicking off a new month or quarter with folks. Let's talk about how I can come in and support you guys there. And then we have a self-paced course. If you just want to learn more about Myers-Briggs or how you use that as a manager, there's a couple of self-paced courses on our website as well. And we're always happy if you want to reach out and ask us more. So again, email kjteam@kjconsultinggroup.com, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.